All right, so here we are actually reacting to a video of, from a content creator that I like, Joe from Seattle, indeed. Yeah, I love his content, and yeah, let's just get into the video. I'm going to show you guys why I love his content. But yeah, let's get right into it.
Would you believe me if I told you that I've never once, consciously engagement farmed on Twitter? I'm being serious. I literally have not once ever in my life tweeted something with the intention of engagement farming, except on April Fool's Day that one time when I said I didn't like Dark Souls all that much. That was obviously not true. But I bring this up because it seems that not only did I have a tweet go particularly viral and it just won't slow down, even though it's literally just a picture of a Steam Deck, but several things have happened.
Uh-oh. Don't show Nintendo fanboys that there's other options. That's where you fucked up, man.
And after I made that tweet, and one of the things that's happened is going to be the subject of this video, because following the announcement of all the nonsense with the Switch 2, I simply tweeted out a picture of a Steam Deck, priced at $400, with games that are not $80, with online access that doesn't charge you monthly just to use your own internet connection, with a gigantic library of games, with lots of emulators, mods, with all of the functionality.
Yes, sir, and not to mention that a system where you can play more Nintendo games, including Nintendo Switch games, than the Nintendo Switch itself. I mean, honestly, just for shits and giggles, I want to dump my code for Dead by Daylight on the Switch, right? I just want to dump my NSI, I think it's called, onto the computer, and I want to try it on my Steam Deck just to see if it'll run better on the Steam Deck, the Switch version of Dead by Daylight on the Steam Deck, compared to the Switch version on the Switch. I want to see that so badly.
We have an actual full-size PC just tucked in a little box there for $400. The point that I was making with this was not that the Steam Deck is some kind of technical powerhouse that totally overpowers the Switch 2. In fact, I wasn't really making a point at all.
Actually, I did say that it did, and honestly, it might. Look, man, we have seen multiple comparisons of people saying how, the PS5 and Series X are like 2080s, like the comparison of 2080 cards. It's like, but they don't give you the customization. It's like, so when a game is 30 frames per second, it's going to stay 30 frames per second, whether you like it or not. It's hard to tell you, bud, but that's how it is, right? So what I'm trying to say is, technically, my $350 PC that I had before the one I have now was able to have more 60 FPS options than the PS5 and Series X were. I'm not saying it was more powerful than them, especially not on paper, but I was able to customize the experience enough to have more of a 60 frames per second option. Absolutely. Yeah. So
literally just tweeted out a picture of a Steam Deck. If I had made a caption, then the caption would have been something along those lines of the fact that for $400, for less money than a Switch 2, you get cheaper games, you get more games, you get constant sales, you get more customization, you get more options, and I just believe the Steam Deck is a better product, especially for the price. I can explain to you for hours.
Absolutely, and then not to mention that even if you you guys are comparing the 64 gigabyte Steam Deck. Still better than your Switch OLED, which only has 64 as well. But let's ignore that and also look into the fact that that you can get a micro SD card. Any micro SD card, by the way, will work on the Steam Deck. Meanwhile, with the Switch 2, you will not be able to use the one that isn't it's the new micro SD card. That's the only one you could use. You can't use the one that you used for your Nintendo Switch, most likely at least. Unless you got the newer one, the Super Speed one, whatever it's called. I forgot. But yeah, essentially, you cannot use your regular micro SD card with the new Nintendo Switch. But you can on the Steam Deck. So yeah.
On end why the Steam Deck is a better purchase for a gamer looking for a handheld system, or a hybrid system, I guess, since there is a dock for the Steam Deck. But I can explain for a long time why I think the Steam Deck is a better purchase, and I would never have to bring up the specs at all. And I'm explaining this now because I got a response from HMK. Some of you will know who this is, some of you won't. I didn't know who this was.
I think I heard of that guy once or twice. It's like, isn't that the loser fanboy that basically just hates on PC because basically all of his games are on it, but better and moddable, and cheaper. Damn, that sucks.
I still don't know and I still don't care. But they quote tweeted me and said sigh because we're typing out the word sigh like it's still 2012. Not 1080p, not 120 hertz, only digital, no upscaling. I can go on. And then
does he actually think that any of those are a flex? Not 120 hertz? Yeah, but my Legion Go is. What? This guy really think, hey, at least the OLED model of the Steam Deck has an OLED screen, unlike your crappy ass Switch 2. So yeah, before you talk shit, at least the OLED version of the Steam Deck, which is still cheaper than the Switch 2 most likely, you know, has a better screen than your shitty Nintendo Switch 2. So get wrecked, loser. Not to mention that, are you serious? Do you really think that the Switch 2 is going to be able to do 120 hertz? Maybe with some games, sure. But you guys do realize that, I don't know why this is in news. Maybe I'll cover this in a separate video. But basically, I have heard with the hands-on previews, right? That, what is it? What's that stupid game again? Cyberpunk runs like absolute dog shit on the Switch 2. Can't even run a proper 30 frames per second. Can't even run that. So what does that tell you, dumb fuck? That tells you that this is exactly the same version that we probably have on the PS4 and Xbox One. So what does that tell you about the Switch 2's power? Like, what, bro? What are you talking about? You actually think that just because it has the thing 120 hertz, it's going to be that? No, not really. My God, what a joke.
They hilariously got community noted because the Steam Deck does indeed have ups.
Wait, did this fool really just say only digital? He did say only digital. Oh my God. Dumb fuck, your code in the box don't count as physical. Okay? And not to mention that most of your games on the Switch and Switch 2 are most likely going to be that garbage where you have to get the physical cartridge, or if you do get a physical cartridge, you have to download the rest of the game. Are you really that delusional? Really? I have a lot of those, by the way. I have a lot of Switch games where you had to download the rest of the fucking game. Like, is he kidding me? My God.
12, not 1080p, not 120 hertz, only digital, no upscaling. I can go on. And then they hilariously got community noted because the Steam Deck does indeed have upscaling. But then I quote tweeted HMK back and said, I love how suddenly specs matter to the Nintendo dudes because
fucking facts, bro. Like, when did you guys care about like specs? Did you guys remember in the Wii U days where you losers said like how, oh, I don't even care if the Wii U was less powerful than 360 and PS3, even though I did and I loved the Wii U, like I really did. But it's like, if that thing was less powerful than the 360 and PS3, I would have slapped Nintendo in their stupid fucking squinty-eyed faces. Absolutely. Yeah. Because if you're that stupid to make another console like less powerful than the 360 and PS3, which it just turned out that the CPU is weaker, but so was the so was the Xbox One and PS4s. You know, like it was the same thing with those. But the Wii U's GPU was outstanding, and its RAM was probably double that of the 360 and PS3. So no, it was not weaker. They just didn't develop for it correctly. But I don't blame them because it didn't sell that well. And why would they make a certain version for the Wii U? Even though it was like Power PC, the same architecture as a 360, you still had to do some bells and whistles to make it operate like, you know, whatever. It's like, it was such a convoluted mess. But it's like, it's so funny how, yeah, now they're talking about specs when they're talking about a piece of hardware like the Steam Deck that came out 3 years ago in your piece of shit Nintendo Switch 2, which, by the way, the Steam Deck will most likely be able to emulate sooner or later, right? You know, you guys are touting that. This 2025 piece of garbage over here that, that is now, like, now they're bragging about 1080p. You know, like, isn't that cute? Isn't that hilarious? Even though I don't really think that matters. I don't really know the whole hype about like 1080p on smaller screens. It's like OLED. People are like hyping that shit up. It's not that good. Like, it's really not. Like, I don't know.
Remember, for years on end, the Nintendo guys have been perfectly fine paying $70 for digital copies of games that run at 720p at 30 frames per second. They've been perfectly A-okay with that. But now, all of a sudden, specs matter. Because, frankly, when you compare the Steam Deck and the Switch 2, specs are all you have. Sure, the Switch 2 is...
Not really. Again, I'm not even going to argue that, because, again, I don't really care how powerful on paper the Switch 2 is, which I don't even think it's more powerful. Actually, on paper, the Steam Deck is more powerful. It has more gigabytes of RAM. I think it even has a better graphics card. I don't know. Doesn't it have actual, like, better overall specs than the Switch 2? The Switch 2 only has 12 gigabytes of RAM. The Steam Deck has 16. And when you get a bunch of unoptimized crappy ass games, that absolutely fucking matters. Yes, gigabytes of RAM is almost everything to an unoptimized piece of crap. So yes, actually, it does matter. Like my PC, there are a bunch of games that are like unoptimized for it, but because I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, I'm actually able to utilize more out of the game on my PC. So I'm able to hit those 120, 144 natural frames, by the way, not that DSSL shit. DSSL, I think so, whatever. That garbage, no. Actual natural born frames. I'm able to hit them, bro. I am. So, yep. Yeah, so it's like gigabytes of RAM nowadays for these shitty developers is everything. Almost everything. So, yep. So the fact that the Switch only has like as much as a fucking Series S when it comes to RAM, when they could have hit 16, they could have done that, is an absolute joke. There's going to be games that are running worse than the Steam Deck because of that. Watch. You will see. You know? I mean, hell, you see a lot of games not even work on the Series S that much or not even come out on it at all because they had to accommodate for that lower gigabytes of RAM and everything else. But you know what I mean. It's like the gigabytes of RAM is actually the biggest issue for the Series S. I'm not lying. So, yeah, I don't think so, buddy. I don't even think on paper the Switch 2 is better. Nope. No, sorry.
Technically a more powerful system than the Steam Deck, but that's also not the be-all end-all of the conversation, as you Nintendo guys should know, because for the longest time now, you've been telling us that specs don't matter. It's about the games. It's about the functionality. It's about what the system offers you aside from specs.
Yeah, it's just hilarious how these like dumb fanboys, these dumb console fanboys will say this about tech or like that about tech as if they fucking know. As if they know what the hell they're talking about when they clearly goddamn don't. But here's the thing, though. You idiots never understood the significance of specs. Just touting it as, oh, I don't really care about good graphics. I don't care. It's like, it's not about graphics, you fucking morons. But now, like, I caught the hypocrisy of these Nintendo fanboys, too. Before this whole, like, Switch 2 thing even came out. Now they're like, oh my god, the Switch might have this much. In fact, I just made fun of a Nintendo fanboy, Dr. Trey 81, right? I just made fun of him. When you're a Nintendo fanboy, yeah, I thought you said that the specs don't matter. You know, I thought you Nintendo fanboys in general, excuse me, say specs don't matter. What happened to that? What happened to that? Now all of a sudden you want to see your Marios in 4Ks? Huh. Weird. Where was this fucking energy when the Switch 1 came out? You know? When you were offered less for more? Where was this energy, bro? Shit. You know?
But now that specs are really
Where was this energy when I wanted a fucking Switch Pro that had different games from the Switch 2? Or I'm sorry, from the Switch 1? Like, as in the games that couldn't come to the Switch 1 naturally, usually they had to give that stupid cloud bullshit. They would make a Switch Pro version that's actually native. That's what I wanted. And the funny thing is that we would have been better off with that. We would have been way better off with that than the shitty-ass Switch 2. Raising its prices up to $90 fucking for a video game. Wow. Not gonna lie, I did not expect Nintendo to do that.
only thing you have over the Steam Deck, suddenly it's all about specs. How interesting that is. And oops, that tweet got a lot of attention as well. So we're going to look through the responses, because a lot of people were surprisingly taking HMK's side here. So just to be clear, I post a picture of a Steam Deck.
Oh, these Nintendo fanboys can't stand the fact that now they're the butt of the joke. They're the ones who are being made fun of because they're simping for a piece of shit, dog shit, fucking hardware like the Switch 2. Oh, they can't stand it, bro. They can't stand it. Now it's their turn. People shat all over the Xbox with the Series S. People shat all over Sony with the overpriced garbage that was a PS5 Pro. Now it's Nintendo's turn, and they hate it. Oh, they hate it.
HMK starts going on about specs and nothing else. I point out how this is comical, because, I mean, not only because he got community noted in his own correction to me, but also because specs didn't matter to Nintendo guys until 5 seconds ago. And now, we're just going to read through the various Nintendo dude responses that I got to this, because you guys really are bending yourself in every which way to defend this thing, and I just don't understand. I'm really yet to hear a solid argument as—
You don't understand? Man, Joe, buddy, you have not been around the cock-sucking Nintendo fan base long enough, man. I was there. I was I was one of the actual Nintendo fans that loved the Wii and wanted the best for the Wii U. And then these retards have just been defending like all dumb shit from the Wii U. You know? Like, oh, I don't care if it's less powerful than the 360 and PS3. I'm like, I do. The hell? I actually want those fucking games to come to it. Metal Gear Solid 5, I wanted that on the Wii U. You know? And like other games, Battlefield 3 and 4, I wanted them on the Wii U. What are you talking about? You don't want those games on the Wii U? They're just stupid. Like, they're like, I'd buy a Wii U for Mario and Zelda anyways. Go fuck yourself. See, those are the problems with those shitty ass fanboys. They'll defend anything, even to say like, oh, I'd rather like get it for a completely mundane option. What if Nintendo fans are sick of Mario and Zelda? What if Nintendo fans want to experience more? Oh, you guys don't fucking care because that's not for you, right? Stupid, man. Completely stupid. Like,
why you would want a Switch 2 over a Steam Deck other than physical games. But as many of you probably know, you don't even really have a physical game advantage anymore because
nope.
Nintendo is slowly but surely taking those away from you as well.
Exactly.
But let's just hear what everyone has to say. Let's just hear the Nintendo dudes try and twist this.
And if you want a quote unquote physical version, oh man, you're gonna have to cough up $90 fucking. Maybe you'll get it if it's not a fucking box that has a Steam code in it. Ridiculous, dude. It's completely ridiculous.
Their favor. Specs didn't matter until 5 seconds ago. And also, there's all these different aspects of the comparison between the Steam Deck and the Switch 2, but we're just not going to talk about those because of the following reasons. Get your flasks. This one's rough. Buzz2049 says, you mean after everybody's comparing it to a Steam Deck, which is actually more outdated than the Switch? Yeah.
Prove it. How's it outdated? How's it more outdated than the Switch? Again, like, I'm not really going to take any technical advice from some losers that simped for dog shit hardware for over a decade now. I'm not going to take that advice from you fucking losers. Take my word for it, people. The Steam Deck will outperform the Switch 2. Watch it happen. I mean, it already is doing so with something like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk I was able to play on the Steam Deck just fine at 60. But they're saying... The people who actually tried out the Switch 2, unlike you stupid fanboys, they said that it could barely run at 30. Cyberpunk could barely run at 30. You know? And that's fucking sad. Like, that's pathetic. But yeah, it's the Steam Deck is running worse. Motherfucker, prove it. Do you even have a Steam? Do you even own a Steam Deck, motherfucker? Do you? I don't think so.
Sure it does. Oh, outdated tech matters now. Interesting. Outdated tech matters now. Funny, because...
Yeah, because you bought your fucking shitty 2015 smartphone ass level hardware there, which was the Nintendo Switch, at $300 fucking dollars, when most Android phones scoffed at that price, being at $50, probably being as powerful as the Switch. So, yeah, $50 being as powerful as a Switch. Fuck out of here, bro. Really.
Again, we've been told by the Nintendo guys since the release of the Switch, which was in 2017, and back in 2017, the tech was already very outdated, and yet they continue to charge you full price and even $70 for games running on that outdated tech with outdated specs and outdated benchmarks. We've been told literally since 2017 that doesn't matter because there's all these other aspects outside of the tech about the Switch.
Yeah, dude, it's portable, bro. It's portable because, you know, we all know something, a modern portable, you know, being a portable means that it has to have all the inconveniences in the world. Shitty battery life, you know, a horrible size for you to not even be able to put your, you know, to be put in your pocket, you know, like overpriced games, you know. Yeah, of course. All those inconveniences have to happen. Oh yeah, and shitty hardware for the size and whatever the fuck it is. Oh yeah, of course, you know, because again, we have to make an excuse, man. We have to make an excuse because it's portable. It's portable, boys.
That make the system worth it, but now suddenly it's all about the tech, and that's the only thing that matters in the Steam Deck to Switch comparison. Now, all of a sudden, outdated hardware is all you need to say to shut down the comparison. Game library doesn't matter, game selection doesn't matter, features don't matter, accessibility doesn't matter, pricing doesn't matter. It's all shut down because one of the system has outdated hardware compared to the other. Fascinating how that is.
Yeah, and like hilarious how these like Nintendo losers are like celebrating because like, oh, now we're getting the big boy games. Yeah, how poorly are they gonna run? Like, how poorly are they going to run, even compared to the Steam Deck, motherfucker? Because, like, on the Steam Deck, I could actually calibrate all of the options. You know, like, even on the Steam Deck's initial controls, or, I'm sorry, the initial settings, not even in the game, but the initial Steam Deck settings, right? When you press that right three-dotted button. You get to say, oh, I want the game, or like, I want the screen to run at 30 to 60 frames. You could do that. And when you make it such in the game as well, it will be less straining on the hardware, which will allow you to, run the game even better. Which, by the way, if that doesn't work, go in the desktop mode and play the game, because actually sometimes that might actually be better than playing it on the Steam Deck itself. Believe it or not, it's very, yeah, like you could fuck around with the Steam Deck. Also, are we really going to ignore the fact that the Steam Deck could play more Nintendo games, including Switch games, than the Switch and Switch 2? Are we really going to forget that? I guess we are. Shit. It's awkward.
Fascinating. It's almost like you're proving my point. Next comment. Luigi, yep, name checks out, says, it's more so you're showing something you thought was stronger and cheaper. At least that's the idea that comes from your tweet. You're just wrong, lol. I do love this idea, like this implication that I started it.
Shut the fuck up, Luigi, and go back to making a good, like, whatever, what Luigi's Mansion, bitch. How about that?
Like, look at this. This is all I said. All I said was, I'm gonna leave this here with a picture of a Steam Deck. And then this guy made it about specs. Again, I thought you Nintendo folk were very aware of the fact that it's not just about specs.
Wait a minute.
This guy made it
HMK. Oh, fuck. No, I heard of this guy. Oh, my God. Yeah, I used to be subscribed to him on my other older channel. Oh, my God. I cannot believe this guy is fucking simping for the Switch 2. Oh my god. I cannot believe. Yo, can this shill shut the fuck up? Because that's what he was. That's why I unsubbed to him, by the way. This guy was a massive fucking shill. He really is. He would overhype anything just so, like, just to get, like, like any sort of click, views, whatever. Like, he's a pathetic human being that just wants to get any sort of attention whatsoever from any industry that he's trying to capture. Like, again, he was a Kingdom Hearts channel. That's how I found him, by the way, not because of his shitty gaming takes. He was a Kingdom Hearts channel for the longest time. And before Kingdom Hearts 3 launched, oh, you bet your ass he fucking blew up right there. That's why. That's who this guy is. Oh, I remember him because of his fucking fire crotch hair. Oh my god, I just recognized this dude. That's crazy. Oh, wow. Duh. Shit.
About specs. Again, I thought you Nintendo folk were very aware of the fact that it's not just about specs when purchasing a gaming.
Yeah, and like, here's the thing though, too. If you're a Kingdom Hearts simp, motherfucker, how are you simping for, like, a shitty system that wasn't even able to play Kingdom Hearts 3 or any of the older Kingdom Hearts games as well? Naturally. Like, if you guys don't know, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so of course I know this shit. But Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts collection, which was everywhere natively, by the way. It was on the Epic Game Store, it was on Steam, now it came to Steam, like, a little bit ago. It was on the PS4, it was on the Xbox One, and it was on all those things naturally. Now, the Switch version, Switch 1 version, was the only version where you needed cloud, as in you need to stream the games. So that dog shit Kingdom Hearts 3 I can understand, but motherfucker, you did the exact same thing with the PSP, PS2 titles. It's like, what the hell, dude? It's like, if you're a Kingdom Hearts simp, motherfucker, how the hell are you simping for this dog shit? How are you simping for hardware that can't even play PS2 and PSP games for the most part? Shut your mouth. You look dumb.
Platform. But now, when I respond to this, suddenly the whole thing is my fault. Suddenly, I started the tech conversation. Not only did I start the tech conversation, I said the Steam Deck was stronger and cheaper. Really? I said that? Oh wait, no, sorry. That's the idea that comes from your tweet. Again, I love this. I love this. Suddenly, games don't matter, accessibility doesn't matter, features don't matter. None of this matters. The only thing that matters is the tech and which one's stronger. And not only is that all—
I know, that could easily be surpassed with, like, the fucking Steam Deck too. Like, these retards don't understand that. It's like, the Steam Deck 2 could just be announced, and it'll already be a lot more valuable than the dog shit Nintendo Switch. Even if it's not a huge thing, which that's not even true, because Valve said that they're not going to make a Steam Deck 2 officially until they get like significant hardware that will make it better. I'm assuming like they mean like actually giving 120 frames without it fucking up the system. So yeah, I agree. I cannot wait for them to release that. So whatever. Anyways, even if it wasn't such a huge drastic upgrade compared to the Steam Deck 1, it will still have more value than that dogshit Nintendo Switch 2 ever will. Free online, better priced games, better running games, more options for games. I mean, holy fuck, man. You don't have nothing. You Nintendo fanboys have nothing but a shitty piece of hardware that is now the gaming's butt of the joke. And now you guys are pissed. You guys are so mad that everyone's shitting all over the Switch 2. It's so funny. And you guys deserve this. You had this like for a long time coming. I just find it hilarious how these dumbasses in the Nintendo fan base, right? They will excuse anybody, or no, they will talk shit about anybody for pulling something bad in a video game, like, you know, microtransactions, making games too expensive, whatever. But as soon as Nintendo does it, you won't hear a peep from these hypocritical motherfuckers. None of it. None. Even though I've been talking shit about Nintendo and their first-party games throughout the whole Switch generation. And what do they say? Nothing. Nothing. They have nothing to say. Garbage. Oh my god, these games run like shit on the Xbox and PlayStation. Yet here they are defending fucking Xenoblade. Here you are defending Zelda. Here you are defending literally any fucking first-party game. A Pokemon? Right. You're defending all these games on the Switch, but you're talking shit about something like Cyberpunk when it first launched, ironically enough. Interesting. Very, very interesting, Nintendo fanboys. Huh. Weird.
Matters, but you are so confident that that's all that matters that you are literally telling me I said something I didn't say. I'm having so much fun with this. I feel so powerful right now. Okay, let's go. Oh, I love this one. Gilgax Pro says he corrects your stupidity, and this is your response. Are you mentally ill?
Are you guys? Shit. Like, goddamn. We just like clowning on you, but you guys are acting like rabid losers who are now getting a taste of your own fucking medicine. Look at that, 256 gigabytes on the, or I'm sorry, 256 likes. That's the only amount of gigabytes your shitty ass Nintendo Switch 2 will have, unless you cough up more money for these dog shit freaking like micro SD, the newer micro SD cards now. Good job, idiot.
First of all, he corrected my stupidity being a literal picture of a Steam Deck, and
right, you guys are the ones that really act, you guys are the ones acting stupid, like you didn't do anything.
That was it. And also, in his correction of my stupidity, he got fucking community noted because he was wrong. So, what are we doing here, buddy? Truly, what exactly are we doing here? Because we're not making good arguments. That's number one thing we're not doing here. Splurgalex.
Nintendo, that was never their strong suit. Nintendo fanboys never had good arguments other than, that's not what Nintendo systems are for. That's not the argument. I said, why is Nintendo not having these games? Why is Nintendo not making their hardware up to snuff with the other pieces of hardware? Why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? And these idiots are like, that's not what Nintendo's meant for. Are you their fucking spokesperson? Shut up. Shut up. Stop excusing their mediocrity.
I love how price matters to non-Nintendo gamers when specs catch up to current gen systems. Wait, are we suggesting that non-Nintendo gamers have never cared about Nintendo's pricing? Is that what we're saying right now? Because methinks that's not true. Methinks Nintendo has been getting constant.
Bro, the Switch 2 is getting ratioed. Basically everybody, whether they're in the Nintendo camp or not, bro, they're getting ratioed. Nintendo's getting ratioed by either the real Nintendo fans or non-Nintendo fans. Like, they're getting ratioed by the whole gaming industry as a whole. What are you talking about?
Criticized for their pricing by people who don't partake in their pricing. So I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to say here. Also, are we suggesting that the specs of the Switch 2 have caught up to current gen systems? Like the specs of the Switch 2 are like comparable to the other systems, that's why it's priced that way? Are we really, like, I'm not here to defend the PS5 or like the Series X. I think both of those systems are grossly underpowered for what they're charging, but they're also significantly more powerful than the Switch 2.
Yep. to the point where the Switch 2 is not even worth it, because the point of any of these consoles, actually, not just the Switch 2, but the point to any of these consoles are for convenience. You're not getting that when you need to pay for online. You're not getting that when you have to pay for full-price games, bruh. Like, even for these games that came out 5 years ago or more, Nintendo expects you to pay $60 fucking, and the shitty ass third-party developers too, that are, and companies that are putting it on the Switch 2. Fuck off. It's horrible.
And like, that's okay. I've said it a million times. I've always respected the fact that Nintendo prioritizes fun game design and accessible hardware over things like...
They could do that better if they have better hardware. Like, I'm gonna say that right now.
Technical performance and big benchmarks. I actually really respect that. But now that you guys are suddenly in the ballpark of current console specs, now we're supposed to disregard price...
They're not in the ballpark for shit. Cyberpunk runs like garbage on the Switch 2. I heard it runs okay with the Series X and PS5. It does not run okay on the Switch 2. That needs to be understood. It does not run okay on the Switch 2 compared to the other consoles. Especially. It is not in the ballpark of anything. It is a massive disappointment that's going to be a overpriced massive disappointment. I mean, Jesus, it's really that simple.
Together? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm not trying to be like the other guys who put words in people's mouths and make their arguments for them, but I'm genuinely not sure what the fuck point you're trying to make here. Price has always mattered to non-Nintendo gamers. If we're not a Nintendo gamer, there's a good chance that price is one of the reasons why. PTT7 here says, Nintendo fan here, I'm just happy that after almost 20 years of the admittedly successful strategy of having a very underpowered yet cheap to produce console that's barely good enough, we're finally getting a little bit of now you're playing with power back. 20 years of successful strategy for Nintendo? 20 years ago was 2005. Are we really suggesting that since 2005, Nintendo's had a successful strategy? I feel like we're forgetting something here. I feel like we're forgetting the Wii U, which has a lot of concerning similarities to the Switch 2, as many people have pointed out. The only reason the Switch 2 exists is because the Switch exists, and the only reason the Switch exists was because the Wii U was such a disaster. So I feel like we're glossing over something here.
True. I mean, damn, bro. I could give you guys a whole history, honestly, of the massive disappointment that was the Wii U to the Switch, and now the Switch 2. It's like, it's just depressing to think about as someone who is a former Nintendo fan. It really is. In fact, I have a full video that's not reacting to someone else's. It's going to be a full video. I'm making the script right now so I don't just babble on. So, yep, you guys heard it here. I will be making my own video about talking about my history with the Nintendo, with the Nintendo, right? And talking about how it led up to this now, right? Like how I feel about them now, what happened to them now, you know, how they lost everything essentially. So stay tuned for that.
Storm says, I love how Nintendo specs suddenly matter to people who have no intention of buying one. Again, it's like the price thing. If we weren't on Nintendo's platform before...
Dude, why are people, like, just dumbasses? Don't you want more people to get on the Nintendo bandwagon? Why are you saying dumb shit like that? You weren't gonna buy one anyway. You cannot win with these stupid fucks right here, dude. You can't. You could either buy it and then they're like, well, why'd you buy it if you didn't like it? Or you don't buy it and they're like, well, you never had any interest in it anyways. Like, go fuck yourself, you stupid Nintendo dork. I hope you get bullied throughout all your life. You're such a fucking moron. What is wrong with you? God. It's like, I'm sorry that your father fucking left you, but that does not mean that Nintendo's your daddy. I mean, yeah, they are fucking you like they're your daddy. Their sexual version of that. But holy shit, man. Stop being stupid. Jesus. Fuck.
Specs were probably a significant reason why. It's not like we've never paid attention before now. Also, this is not a good deflection to me pointing out that specs didn't matter to you until 5 seconds ago. Nintendo dudes didn't know anything about specs, other than the fact that the hardware was underpowered, and they admittedly did not care that it was underpowered. But now that the hardware is not underpowered...
They pretended to not care. They pretended to not care. Now that they have, like, what, the least bit of a fucking PS4 in the palm of their hands. Oh, look at us, dude. Wow, we're so cool. It's so much better than the Steam Deck, even though there's no evidence to support that. So far, games are running like ass, and so far, you know, on paper, the Switch 2's specs look like shit compared to the Steam Decks. So I don't know where people are getting that from that's outperforming the Steam Deck, but you're fucking wrong.
Suddenly they're all spec experts and spec enthusiasts,
Uh-huh.
and specs are the only things that matter to them. It's like, that's objectively funny. But also, fucking irony alert here, Nintendo specs only matter to the people who have no intention of buying one. So if you have no intention of buying something, you're not allowed to criticize it? Okay.
Yeah, dude, duh, you know? Like, we're not allowed to criticize the PS5 Pro, you know, even though that was an overpriced, overly expensive piece of shit for the nothing that it was giving you, for the no value it was giving you. In fact, it had less value than an overall PS5, than a regular PS5.
Shut the fuck up about the Steam Deck then. Like, what is this?
Right! It's true! Why are they so ass blasted about something that failed, right? I thought the Steam Deck failed, guys. Which, no, it didn't. It's part of the PC ecosystem, so it's part of the PC sales, you dumb fucks. Like, it's, oh my god, it's so stupid. But anyways, yeah, but I thought the Steam Deck failed, though. Well, why do you guys still care about it? Why do you get pissed every time that someone compares the Switch or Switch 2 to it? Why? Why is that? Huh. Weird.
Julie says because suddenly the price matters to the PC/PlayStation dudes. Again, we've been talking about price for years. We've been talking about price for years because Nintendo just keeps swindling you people, and you keep allowing yourselves to be swindled. We point at that.
But they got Mario and Zelda banging each other in the fucking Elf's Garden. I don't fucking know. Like, seriously, you guys are retarded. I'm just being honest here, man. Y'all piss me off. You dumb Nintendo fanboys just piss me off. Seriously, you guys have defended the bullshit of Nintendo back then, and you continued to defend the bullshit of them. That's why I left this stupid ass Nintendo fan base. I'm so sick and tired of it. They're all fucking retarded. They all don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they all like just want to saddle Nintendo's dicks. You know? They all do. And it pisses me off to no extent. You guys are absolutely disgusting, and you're annoying the shit out of me every time I see you on screen defending some dumb shit that Nintendo does. It's absolutely infuriating, man.
We're like, man, that's a problem. It'd be great if they didn't do that. It'd be great if we didn't set that example for the rest of the industry, how much they're charging you for absolutely everything. Like, where's this idea coming from that non-Nintendo gamers haven't been talking about Nintendo prices before now? Because we super have. Because evidently, you Nintendo folk won't do it yourself.
I did too when I was on the Switch, by the way. Like, before the Steam Deck came out, you guys do realize that my primary platform at the time, because my PC wasn't this uber powerful thing, right? And I didn't have the Steam Deck, obviously, because it didn't come out, wasn't announced, whatever, right? I was on the Switch, mostly. You know? That was my primary platform. I absolutely complained about the prices. Ooh. Oh, excuse me. That's why, whatchamacallit? Sorry. My mind is going to blank. Oh yeah, that's why I asked for the Switch Pro. This is exactly why I asked for something like the Switch Pro that would give us the games that the dumbass original Nintendo Switch didn't give us. Oh no, but that's like the new 3DS. Yet here you motherfuckers are defending something that's even more inconvenient than a Switch Pro. I fucking hate the Nintendo fan base. I hate them so much. They're such fucking retards. Jesus.
And then you wonder why things keep getting more expensive. Oh man, if only we could piece this one together. What a mystery this is, Carmen Sandiego. One more. I love how power no longer matters to Steam Deck fans. It's all about price now. Fire emoji. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The Steam Deck always had both over, you dumb fucks. The Steam Deck always had everything over the stupid ass Nintendo Switch. What are you talking about? Do you want me to go down the list again? Free online, able to play more Nintendo games natively than your shitty ass Nintendo Switch itself. The fact that I could play your Nintendo Switch games on the fucking Steam Deck if I wanted to. Freaking, what else? And the fact that it had the same amount of gigabytes as a fucking Steam Deck, or I'm sorry, as a Switch OLED. Same amount of gigabytes as that. 64 for just $50 more, and you could have enjoyed like a lot more titles, free online, all sorts of amazing things that automatically cuts down that fucking $50 price tag. Absolutely. So shut your fucking mouths. The Steam Deck always had value over the Switch. Always. And the Switch too.
It's not just about the hardware. It's not just about the hardware. Like all of you Nintendo people have been saying for literal years now. It's not just about the hardware. It's about everything else and what they're charging you for the whole package. For the longest time, Steam Deck guys would bring up hardware because it was more powerful hardware than the Switch, in addition to all the things that you got with the Steam Deck that weren't available on the Switch. But now...
Yup.
Switch 2 has better hardware, you guys still don't want to talk about the rest of those things. That's why it's funny to point out. For the longest time, Nintendo guys were like, no, don't pay attention to the Steam Deck's hardware, pay attention to Nintendo Switch, because the Switch has all these great games. It's not about hardware, it's about games. It's about ecosystem. It's about community. But now, suddenly, it's only about power because the Steam Deck still has more games, and is more accessible, and has more features, and is cheaper every.
Yep, dude, these Nintendo fanboys are pissed off because the Switch 2 actually has competition, actually has comparisons, unlike the original Switch. Like, there was nothing like the original Switch back when it came out. There was no PS4 portable, there was no Xbox portable, and there was not a decently priced PC portable. Absolutely not. So, of course, now they're in panic mode. These dumb fanboys are in panic mode now. Because they know that the Switch 2 is overly expensive. They know that it doesn't have that many fucking games. They know that it won't, that it will lose a lot of people from the original Switch. Oh, they're scared. They're fucking scared. Like they have stock in Nintendo or something. Like these fucking loser man-children knows anything about stock. I have stock in Nintendo, and I want this to happen. I want them to fail more spectacularly, because I'd rather have something like the gaming market be better than me having more, stock in Nintendo, because I have other stocks, that's why, so I don't care. But yeah, this is garbage. This is absolutely pathetic. Like, really.
Step of the way. But now, we gotta talk about power, and only power. And the fact that you're trying to boil the entire platform comparison down to specs and only specs, it is fucking hilarious. Because specs did not matter to you people until 5 seconds ago. There are so many problems with the Switch 2. The price for games is outrageous. They're charging you to play your own games online. That is outrageous. There is absolutely no drop in price for games over time. That is outrageous. This system is so restrictive with what you are and are not allowed to do with it. It is outrageous. And
very true. It's very true. There's no long-term success with the Switch. I'm sorry. There is no long-term reason to have a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2. What's the point when you could just get a Steam Deck, play more of Nintendo's game? I already went through these, man. Oh my god, I don't want to do that again. I'm sorry, guys, to repeat, but it's true. It's true. There's no longevity to consoles, let alone the Switch 2. There's none anymore. These consoles are shitty-ass money vacuums. That's all they are. You got to pay for online. You got to pay for overpriced accessories that we're not going to allow other people to make cheaper alternative accessories to our thing. Which I know that there are some $20 wired Switch controllers and shit like that, but it's like, you do realize that those don't work as well, right? Like, and it's like, no, and Nintendo obviously will advertise their shitty ass overpriced ones before it. But here's my point though. You cannot play an Xbox controller on the Switch. You can't play a PlayStation controller on the Switch. Hell, you can't even play a Wii U Pro controller on the Switch. You could do all that. You could do all that on the Steam Deck. Absolutely. You could do all of that on the Steam Deck. You just got to download some shit. But yeah, essentially you can. So, oops. Jesus, man. So dumb. So stupid. Yeah.
Here's this handheld platform called the Steam Deck. It is cheaper, it gives you all of those things, it is a much more accessible platform with better pricing, more games, more to do, but you don't want to talk about that. You want to hoist up the Switch 2 based on specs and specs alone, and that is objectively comical because specs did not matter to you people until 5 seconds ago. It is hilarious how you people are trying to twist this now. Ugh, I don't mean to keep harping on the Steam Deck, or the Switch 2, excuse me, fuck me. I really don't mean to keep harping on it, but can you really blame me? This shit just keeps falling in my lap. How am I supposed to turn?
Yeah, no, you should. You should. Absolutely. Everyone should shit on it. It is a worthless, shitty system that's going to come out to, to a bunch of idiots buying it, but it will be less people overall. The long game, I mean, look, I know that the Switch 2 is going to sell out. I'm not stupid. I know that the Switch 2 is going to sell to a bunch of fucking losers who let their wives get cucked. I know. But here's the thing, though. In the long term, the Switch 2 will sell nowhere near the same amount as the original Switch. And if they keep pulling this bullshit, they're going to lose more and more and more people. And yeah, although they did raise the price, so you might say, oh, well, they're going to make up for it. No, the point of the consoles is to have more and more people on their ecosystem. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point? Well, what the hell is the point? Like, you yourself on the console, you're not going to get much longevity unless there's more people on the console. They're just going to keep nickel and fucking diming you, and there's going to be less people on your platform. Like, where's your benefit to that? Like, really? That's why I jumped ship from every fucking single console. I was pissed at Nintendo when the Switch 2 was just when the Switch 1 like released, right? So I went to PlayStation. PlayStation did not offer me what I wanted, so I went to Xbox. Xbox fucked up. I was waiting for them to actually fix everything with the launch of the Series X. Oh boy, was I wrong. Oh boy, what the fuck was I thinking? Anyways. So then I just went back to my Nintendo Switch. And then, you know, cue the, oh, music down the, you know, whatever. Like, down from above came the announcement of the Steam Deck, which fucking made everything better. I was like, oh shit! Oh my god! A proper portable PC! Oh lord! Oh my god! This is gonna shit all over the Switch! And it did. I love the Steam Deck more. Like, a good comparison to that is try to play Dead by Daylight on the original Nintendo Switch. Well, obviously you have none of you losers have the option to play it on the Switch too, so whatever. But yeah, so try Dead by Daylight on the Switch, and then try Dead by Daylight on the Steam Deck. That's basically, that runs down the whole value of the Steam Deck in a nutshell. You know? So, there you go. I think that's about it, though. He's pretty much wrapping up the video. I just want to leave out on this. The Switch 2 will lose a lot more people, and you guys are going to have a lot less fun with that. Let me tell you. I'm telling you guys right now, the Switch 2 will lose more people. You know? And then the Switch 3 will lose even more. And so on and so forth. Alright? And then, if you're still stupid enough to stick by that whole Nintendo ecosystem, motherfucker, you're gonna pay for that. Like, literally, you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay more and more and more because they're losing more and more and more people. Because they're selfish. They want to raise the prices and not give the value with it. So, good luck, guys. Yeah, if you're really gonna stick around with that piece of shit system, that's on you. Honestly. So, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.